Hey, what's going on? It is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Chrisma. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And what we're talking about today is the real estate market and the real estate economy, and how real estate drives the economy, and how the real estate market feeds off the economy, and how this cycle and how they connect together. There's a lot of synchronicities that you could see for this cause has this effect. And as you start to dive deeper into this is how you better understand the real estate market, so you can really form not just an opinion of value, but also an opinion on the trajectory of the real estate market. And you can have facts to back up what it is that you think. You could be like somebody who just says, oh, the real estate market is this or the real estate market is that, but do they really know what they're talking about, or do they actually have facts to back up that information? Facts that are relevant. And look, this is important to understand, not just for the overall real estate market. I mean, look, we could be talking about the entire planet here. We could be talking about the United States. We could talk about Florida. We could talk about Tampa. We could talk about an individual neighborhood in Tampa and really dissect the market and the economy and how it affects the homes in that neighborhood. So that's really what this is more about, is being able to understand these concepts and be able to apply them to your everyday transactions and everyday scenarios for just regular properties. So we're going to be talking a lot about the economics and the supply and demand and all that type of stuff, but we're going to keep it nice and simple because we're not going to get way too technical, because we don't need to know it technical. We just need to understand the basics here. So stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
You are watching Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Chrisma. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time. Make sure you're subscribed if you have not done so already, so that way you get notifications. Just hit that little bell icon. You'll get notifications whenever it is we have new content to help you take your real estate career, your business, to the next level. So let's talk about some basics on supply and demand. So the basics of supply and demand, and look, if you're studying for your real estate exam, this is going to be good content to remember. Some of the rest of the show, as we get deeper into this stuff, it's not quite exam relevant. But for those of you guys studying for your exam, this is definitely a concept that could potentially be on your exam some way, shape, or form, but also the basis of understanding all of these deeper concepts regarding real estate and the economy. So we're going to do supply in green, and we're going to do demand in red. So here is demand. And then the green, again, is supply. Now, what are the factors that are driving this individual supply or demand? Well, the things that are going to create more supply in real estate are mainly related to the availability of housing. That's what supply is in real estate. In real estate, supply is housing. Houses that are available for people to purchase. When there's not homes available for people to purchase, if we're talking about the residential real estate market, if there's not homes for people to purchase, or whatever the property is, for whatever market you're dealing with, there's no supply. And when a property does come on the market, it sells for a much higher price. Now, it's never one extreme or the other. It's not that all the properties for sale or none of the properties are for sale. It's always somewhere in the middle. But exactly where it falls on this line, that's the types of things that you're studying on an individual basis to understand an individual neighborhood. As well as the same concepts you could look at the real estate market as a whole with. So that's why it's important. You can't just listen to what's on the news, because the news isn't talking about your individual neighborhoods and individual markets that you're going to be working in. So supply, that's the availability of housing. Now, let's say there's no houses for sale. Well, how else can there still be housing? Well, are there developers building new housing? That's really the only way there's new supply created. Other than people putting their homes on the market for sale, other than them putting on the market for sale, the only other way that real estate supply is created is by building new homes. So the things that affect supply are going to be all really related to construction and the land that we construct on. That's why if you look in neighborhoods where, just in general, look at an entire area where it's densely populated areas, the land is always more valuable because there's no more of it in that particular area. And that's the supply of land decreasing causes prices to rise. Now, let's say we have land, but let's say there's no one in the area who knows how to build real estate, that knows how to build a house. Well, if there's no skilled laborers or construction workers, people that understand how to build a house, you're not going to end up with a house. So that's another factor as well, especially when you look at this on the larger scale, is how big is the construction industry? Do we even have the manpower and woman power to be able to create more housing? Now, if we talk about demand things, demand is going to be more related to consumers. So supply is more construction related when we're talking about real estate, and demand is more consumer related. Now, what changes the demand in consumers? Well, we could look at, again, on an individual basis for a particular person. Maybe somebody their household size is increased. Whether that's maybe they're having children, or maybe their parents or a family member or somebody is moving in with them. That now maybe wants them to have a little bit bigger of a house so everyone's got a little bit more room. So household size can drive demand one way or the other. You could look at people's preferences for a certain area, and when people prefer certain areas, for example, Florida's hot right now. Not just our weather, but just in general. People like Florida. Florida's always hot. Our real estate market is like our weather. Occasionally we get a rainy day, but overall it's pretty hot. And the big driver of this, the big driver of demand for Florida, historically, is more people moving to Florida than people moving out of Florida. You can't say that about every state in the country. There's a lot of states right now, some with very large populations, some of our very largest states that are actually having people move out and actually have a negative migration of more people leaving than there are people moving in. And when there's more people moving to the United States every single day, well, then we should all be having more people. But no, people like to move around within the country. In Florida, for a lot of reasons, a lot of people like Florida right now, want to make a home in Florida. And historically, that's been the case. People want to retire here. People want to live close to the beaches, close to the theme parks. They want job opportunities. That's something that has really been picking up a lot of steam in Tampa and Florida, is more job opportunities being created. And so that fuels the demand for real estate, but now we come back to the supply. Is there housing for these people? Okay, we have people moving to Florida, or we could say this for an individual area, maybe Tampa, maybe a certain neighborhood where there's a high demand for people to live in a certain neighborhood. Again, these concepts are universal no matter how large or how small you're looking at it here. How many people want to live there? What are the factors that are driving people wanting to live there? And then how is the availability of housing? Because the lower the supply goes and the higher the demand is, right over here is where real estate would be worth the most, and over here is where real estate would be worth the least, where there's no demand and infinite supply. Versus no supply and infinite demand, well, people will basically pay any price, whereas over here it would be worthless. And now real estate really never gets to those fringes. It's, again, always somewhere here in the middle, pushing one way or the other, but where it is in the middle here, and because real estate moves slow, real estate is slow to respond to the changes in supply and demand, that creates a lot of opportunity for investors. And remember, everybody, all your clients are investors to some degree. Now, somebody buying their home, they're not going to necessarily understand cap rates, but they don't want to buy something where they're going to potentially lose money down the road on it. So understanding the long-term impacts of real estate, and also factoring in other factors such as mortgage rates and purchasing power. When you look at inflation and the value of the dollar and purchasing power, that's something that could change more in the future. That's something where there's a lot of inflation going on, so purchasing power might decrease dollar per dollar, And with real estate, if you remember this also from your course, real estate is a hedge against inflation. And that's because there's always this constant demand for people to live in real estate. So that's the basics of supply and demand. And again, if you're studying for your real estate exam, this is definitely something that's good to know for your exam. But we've got more to talk about. We've got deeper to go because I also want to touch in and how you can understand current trends going on in the real estate market and how these simple supply and demand concepts tie into that. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stick with us. I'm John Christopher. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Christopher. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time. We're here. Make sure you hit that bell icon so we get notifications whenever it is that we've got new content so you don't miss out on any of this information. So far we've talked about supply and demand. The basics of supply, that's housing that's available, and demand is how much people want it. Well, this is the phenomenon we're experiencing right now, at least in the Tampa market in Florida. Other parts of the country, depending on where you're at, you might not be experiencing this, or not to the degree that we have here. But because there is a very high demand right now, we have a very high demand for real estate. A higher than normal demand for real estate. That's really the thing, because normally we have that constant influx of people moving to Florida. The builders are constantly building homes, but now with there being a higher rate of people moving to Florida, that's increasing the demand. And the builders are only building homes so quickly because they know they don't want to overbuild. If they overbuild, they risk losing money. So they want to keep an eye on this and manage this as well. But what we're seeing right now is also lower supply than normal. So we're seeing an increased demand. And look, not only are we seeing an increased demand from people simply moving to Florida, that's one of the factors right now that's really driving a lot of growth in the real estate market, is just more people wanting to live in Florida. But another factor that's driving this, and this is courtesy of 2020, is people spend a lot more time at home now. There's a lot more hours people are spending in their home. There's people that are working from home. People that now have their own little office at home. Well, what if working from home is maybe a little distracting because you're on top of everyone else? You kind of miss maybe that space of having your own separate office. Or maybe you can't focus, or whatever the case. Maybe you just want more room to spread out, or maybe you want a dedicated room for an office. Point being that overall in the real estate market, due to people spending more time at home, that was just an overall trend for reasons you could fill in the blanks for, people wanting to stay home, that all of a sudden that increases the demand for more real estate. Now, not only do they want, it's not just whether or not people need a home, but what about the people that want more home? Well, because more home is more dollars, and that's another transaction. And then when we have this commission that we're getting paid in the transaction, that money then feeds around, and we could really get into a whole discussion of how the money just circulates around and around and around again. But this is also one of the factors that's driving the economy, is real estate. Real estate is a significant contributor to the economy. Who makes money when there's a real estate sale? Well, the government makes money, number one, especially in Florida, because property taxes are one of the primary ways that Florida generates revenue, and not just the annual recurring property taxes, but there are transfer taxes that are charged on the deed, on the mortgages that are created, on mortgages that are assumed. So there's tax revenue. So number one, the government's making money off of every real estate transaction that's out there. There's people like us that are real estate brokers and sales associates that are earning commissions for helping navigate people through this process. There's title companies who are making money helping people close and issuing title insurance to ensure the future ownership of the property. There's lenders that are making money by these lenders being able to invest in these borrowers. And now them being able to resell these loans to an institutional investor who's then able to have individual investors invest in mortgage-backed securities that are tied to this loan. And this money just circulates around. And so when there are more real estate transactions, that does definitely help bolster the real estate economy. But like many things, it's a constant balance. Because if supply increases, well, that can cause prices to drop. That might spook buyers. And so this is something that you'll typically only see minor shifts here and there. You know, one of the things that also affects demand is mortgage rates. You know, we've had some of the lowest interest rates ever recently. And just recently, they increased them, but just a little bit, just a touch. Just a little bit, just to pump the brakes a little bit, slow things down a tiny bit, maybe take off a little bit of the demand. Because the more excess demand we have over supply, the higher prices go. But here's the thing, when prices get too high, that also decreases demand. Because people look at the prices and say, oh, you know, maybe that price is too high, or oh, that's more than I can afford for what I'm looking for, or anything like that. And again, this isn't just looking at the major market, because you see very, very minor differences and small changes when you're looking at the entire market. It's when you look at your individual markets and your individual neighborhoods. You know, people may be looking to live in, let's say, a more desirable area where there's higher home prices. Now, they look at homes in that area, but if they want to buy a home in this area, they can maybe only afford a 2 or 3 bedroom, whereas if they look at maybe a more newer community that's maybe a little bit farther outside of a city or something where it's not as desirable of an area, you could maybe get a 4 to 5 bedroom home for the same price of that 2 to 3 bedroom home in that more desirable area. So it's not just whether or not this shuts off people from actually buying, but where they're actually buying as well. And this will help you better understand your individual clients as you're working with them. You know, one of the things that'll also help you when you're working with clients, if you haven't done this already, if you don't have your real estate license yet, go get your real estate license so you can actually make some use of this information here. But if you've already got your real estate license, get enrolled in the post-licensing course. The post-licensing, it's a requirement to renew your real estate license, but it really helps you understand how to actually serve your clients in real estate. And it's really almost a course on what does a real estate agent actually do and how do they do it. Just the basics, just the fundamentals, but enough to get you to understand the bigger picture, so that way when you start training more in depth on more specific things with your broker, you're going to be much more understanding of what's going on and what role it is that you play. So that's your post-licensing course, and you can take it as soon as you've got your real estate license. And again, it's a major factor to building a successful real estate career is getting this done, because if you don't get it done, you lose your real estate license. And when you get this done, it'll cover a lot more of the topics that you were probably hoping you'd learn about in your pre-licensing. So look, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but stick with us. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline. I don't need to do post-licensing yet. But look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. I'm John Christmas. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every single Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time, to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And what we've been talking about today is real estate and the economy, of these different factors that affect supply and demand. Because really that is the key things to understand which way the market is going. Are prices going to rise? Because this is where prices are going to rise. And then as we go this way, this is where prices will fall, where they'll decrease. And I shouldn't say rise and fall because these are usually minor changes. It's very rare that there are major shifts. They do happen, and even when they do happen, over the long run, real estate eventually recovers beyond that price point. But this is what you could look at to really kind of see, because again, it's not just about knowing the entire market or just the entire state or just what's going on in your city or county. This matters on an individual neighborhood level. And this is the stuff that you're already probably have in the back of your mind when you're helping buyers understand where to value their property if you're already out there practicing real estate and you're still trying to kind of pick up on this stuff. This will help you better understand the factors that'll make a property sell for more or will make a property sell for less. The more people want it and the less properties we have, the more prices will be. The less people that want it and the more we have available, the lower prices it'll be. And to give you some more real-world tactical examples on this, imagine that you've got a property that you're going to be listing for sale. You meet with the seller, and they've agreed to have you list the property, and now you're trying to determine the appropriate listing price for the property. And you look at the market, you look at the neighborhood, because again, you're looking close to your property. You look in that neighborhood, and in that same neighborhood, and in this neighborhood, all the homes are very similar. It's one of those neighborhoods where the same home builder and they all built similar floor plans, similar models. So none of these homes are too different. And when we look at this neighborhood, there's lots of homes available for sale. And when we look at these homes that are available for sale, we notice that they've been sitting on the market for many days. So when there's more homes available for sale, that means we have more supply. And when they're sitting on the market, that's meaning that there's not demand. Maybe that the price is too high, or maybe just simply that people don't want to live in that neighborhood, or they don't want to buy in there for whatever reason. Whereas if we look over here, if we look at another neighborhood, a more desirable neighborhood, and we see in this neighborhood, well, there's not really many homes available at all. There's only one other home in the neighborhood. And it just went on the market, so we don't even know. Or maybe we look at the homes that have been put on the market and we see that they're closing in a few days. Or not closing, but going under contract in under a few days. That they go on the market. And this is all information you could find in the MLS. So if you're wondering, hey, once I get a real estate license, where am I able to see this information? The MLS that you get from the Association of Realtors is one of the best, most comprehensive sources of data that's out there for real estate. And they enforce that data by charging fines to people who put data in there inaccurately. So because of that, the data is usually pretty accurate of what you'll find in the MLS. And what you can see in the MLS is properties that were listed. You can see what price they were listed at. You don't necessarily know what price they're under contract at, but you can see what price they're listed at, and you can see how many days it was before they went under contract. MLS automatically tracks that for you. And you can say, oh wow, this property went on the market and went under contract in 3 days. This one 4 days. This one 2 days. This one same day it went under contract. Versus seeing, oh well, these are sitting on the market for a while. That's how you gauge the demand on an individual neighborhood basis. And you gauge the supply by how many listings are available. Or maybe you're in an area where there's a lot of new construction going on. If there's a lot of new construction going on, that's increasing the supply. And so now you have to also consider, well, what if somebody wants to maybe not live in this neighborhood, but that new neighborhood they're building across the street? How much could they get a similar comparable home over there for? And are they even going to be similar comparable homes? Because if they are, we have to keep in mind that principle of substitution you might remember from your course of, all right, might they substitute us with a nicer, newer home for less money? Or, what price do we have to be at to be competitive with those new homes? So this again is how you have to not just listen to what somebody says of the market is this or the market is that, or it's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market, but really understanding the concepts that make it a buyer's market versus a seller's market. This is a buyer's market because prices go down, real estate goes on sale. This is a seller's market. A seller's market is where there's high demand and low supply. A buyer's market is where there is high supply and low demand, because that means lower prices. This over here means higher prices, which is why the sellers like that, and that's why they call that a seller's market. So understanding these concepts, you'll be able to kind of see which way the market is going. You'll be able to better understand, working with your clients, to how to price their property and how to understand how to market it more appropriately based on other factors the consumers might be considering when looking at that property. And it also helps you understand if you're going to be a real estate investor. A lot of real estate agents, they get started in real estate because they eventually want to become a real estate investor, and there's no better way to build up capital for investing in real estate other than actually practicing real estate, because maybe you get to work with some investors and you get to practice helping them buy homes before you go buy your own investment property. So there's a lot of opportunities that exist in real estate, and it's a constant lifelong learning process. It's constantly looking at information and trying to understand it and trying to figure out how you can provide a better solution to stand out amongst your competition, to provide a better experience to your clients, to ultimately win more clients and build your real estate empire, whatever level it is that entails. Now look, if you're ready to get started, give us a call, 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way that we can. So give us a call or check us out online at tampaschool.com. Again, that website is tampaschool.com. That's about all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on Friday for State of Real Estate. Hey, so if you're thinking about starting a real estate career, it could feel a little overwhelming sometimes. Look, that's completely understandable. That's why we're here to help. If you haven't already, check out our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success, or if you don't even know where to begin, give us a call. We'd love to help you out. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that we can. Our phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Give us a call. We're the Tampa School of Real Estate.
Do you want a career that allows you to be in control? With a career in real estate, you'll get to call the shots. Whether you're looking at starting part-time or want to become the next top agent, a career in real estate makes it possible. Find out what it takes at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.